Okay. We'll call this meeting to order with the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Prayer by Billy Day.
Well, thank you guys for letting me do this tonight for Libby. I want to put a prayer out there for Brown University. I think that's very important. And also Australia. And I want to thank the Lord for allowing me to be here. Thank you, Lord, for this group of people. I very seldom see that many people here. And we just put a prayer out there for the city and the people running it take care of it in the manner that we need as citizens here. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mayor Williams.
Here.
Councilor Burke.
Here.
Councilor Berger.
Here.
Councilor Cope.
Here.
Councilor Smith.
Here.
Councilor Taylor.
Here.
Councilor Zimmerman.
Here.
Roll call is complete, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. I welcome everyone here tonight and those people who are online. Appreciate seeing so many faces out there. I don't actually have any announcements. Does any of the council have any announcements? Okay, we'll move on to approve the minutes for the council meeting 1690 dated December 1st, 2025.
Make a motion to approve City Council meeting minutes 1690.
Okay. Are there any council corrections, additions, remarks regarding the minutes? Council? Okay. I would open it up to the public for public comment on our minutes from December 1st, 2025. Are there any public comments on the minutes, please? Any public comments? Mr. Orr?
Madam Mayor and Council, DCOR 1117 Nevada Avenue. On page number 1, it says DCOR submitted written comment alleging violations of public comment procedures. Actually, I allege violations of constitutional right to participate and constitutional right to know the proceedings of the council. That's much more serious. Then on page number 4 it says DCOR attempted to comment on hazardous materials buried in the pile. Councilman Zimmerman called point of order not related to the parking lot. I might point out to you the pile is on the parking lot. So, and the mayor had already acknowledged that they had sent a machine up there to pothole that pile looking for deleterious materials. You guys are doing the city a huge disfavor by messing with hazardous waste above our water supply, which may not be much good after today anyway. Thank you.
Any other public comments on the minutes? Any other public comments? Public comments on the minutes? Then I'll bring it back to council discussion. Is there any comments on Mr. Orr's comments? Okay. All in favor of the motion to approve the minutes?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Minutes are approved. I'm going to have a report that's not on the agenda, but I felt that it was important enough to add, and it's of community interest. We have a public information officer on our flooding event from the emergency management next door. Is going to walk us through some information. We also have Boyd White, our local EMA, Steve Lauer from the fire department, who can also make comments regarding this. I'm sorry for those online, I'm not able to share these slides that we're going to look at, but you should be able to hear the commentary.
Thank you, Ms. Mayor. I'm Nick Holloway, Public Information Officer with Western Montana All Hazard Incident Management Team. We took command of the Libby incident at 8 a.m. this morning. We've received a warm welcome from everybody here, and we have good relationships with the folks of Libby. We've been here before, and we know your emergency responders pretty well, so it was a good greeting when we got here, and it just makes our work a little more easy and more efficient to have those kind of relationships in place. So I'm going to give you a little high-level update on what we're doing on the fire, excuse me, blood, I'm used to fires. I'll start off with damage assessments. So State of Montana Disaster and Emergency Services has had two teams out today doing damage assessments in Troy. And tomorrow they're going to do they're going to have 3 teams doing damage assessments here in Libby. They brought people in from Florida and Colorado, as well as Montanans doing the damage assessments. And one of the goals of damage assessments is to see if damages meet the threshold for a federal disaster declaration. So that's what they're doing. They'll be out again tomorrow. Speaking of damage assessments, they're working on public infrastructure only with these damage assessments. So that's roads, bridges, and culverts. We've reopened 5 roads from yesterday, and there's still about 10 to 12 that are closed that we'll be working on and doing damage assessments on. I also want to note that this isn't in Libby, but in Bull River there's an active flood fight occurring right now, and that's near the Ross Creek Cedars Bridge. It's threatened, and so if we lose that bridge, then the people that live on the other side of that bridge are not going to be able to drive across the bridge. However, they've proven very resilient, and they've been boating across the river. So that's just, I think, a testament to Montana resilience. I love it when we go out to places and people find solutions. They might not be perfect solutions, they're not as good as the roads, but they're finding solutions to their problems. And the more resilient citizens can be, the more efficient we can be with our response efforts. So we don't have to use a resource here because somebody's taking care of this, and we can move that resource to over here. And that comes a lot from neighbors helping neighbors, in that case, with people taking each other across the river. So good on them for that, I believe. Messaging. I'm a public information officer, so I've been working on the messaging. We've been putting out social media posts. I did 6 media interviews today, 5 Montana outlets and 1 national outlet. Topics for messaging include the Lower Flower Creek Diversion Dam, which I'll talk a little bit about later. Local resources available, the shelter that the Red Cross has open, and 3 sand locations with sandbags that are open here in Libby. The damage assessments, we also have a QR code for people to self-report damages to their private property, and that information will go back to the state of Montana, and that will help them determine the scope and scale of private property damage, which could potentially lead to some financial assistance. It's called individual assistance. However, in my experience, it is extremely unlikely that will happen for a disaster of this size. You see more of that in hurricanes and things like that. When Missoula experienced the windstorm last year, we had a lot of damage, and it didn't come anywhere close enough for individual assistance, but it did meet the public assistance threshold as determined by those damage assessments that I just mentioned. Should you get a federal declaration, it's often a 75-25 match with the federal folks doing the 75%. The 25% can usually be in soft match or hard match. The soft match can be volunteer hours, so we're also encouraging all volunteer hours to be recorded in a way that FEMA likes to see them recorded. I don't know what the current rate for volunteer hours but it is today, but a couple of years ago it was about $30 an hour, so it gets big pretty quickly, and that's pretty helpful. Red Cross, they opened the shelter I mentioned before. The shelter has not seen a lot of people come in to stay there, and that's typical of Montana. In all my times here in disasters, you usually don't see more than 1 or 2 families in a shelter. However, they're also acting as a point of distribution for water, and they've given away a lot of water. They have a lot of bottled water in Libby right now, and the Red Cross is giving it out all over the place. Should there become an issue with the municipal water system, I don't want to talk about that yet. Should the storm that's coming in create power outages, that would be a good place to put a recharging location. We've done that in other places that have experienced power outages, especially helpful for people with durable medical or reliant upon powered medical devices. So that's pretty handy. Speaking of that, let's talk about the weather for a second. So we've got more rain coming, as I believe we all know. We've also got some damaging winds potentially coming with gusts of 60 to 70 miles an hour Tuesday night and into Wednesday morning. And the concern there is more with the wind than it is with the rain. The rain is not forecast to raise the river levels to above flooding, but the wind can be very damaging, and when wind damage occurs, it goes up in a curve like this, not a nice smooth curve like that. And so if we get trees down, we're going to have roads blocked, and that'll affect emergency response, and it could result in those power outages I was just talking about. So we're preparing for that. And the longevity of our team's time here, we think, is probably largely dependent on how we get through this weather event in the next couple of days. So we would encourage all individuals and families to prepare for that as much as possible as well. We have talked about opening a multi-agency resource center and determined that we don't need it yet, but we're going to assess and reassess the need for it at any time. A multi-agency resource center is a place where community organizations active in disasters, so your nonprofits, the Red Cross, the Salvation Army, whatever nonprofits you have in Libby, and other organizations can come in and offer help to people that might need their homes mucked out because they've been flooded. This is pretty helpful to folks. So we've talked about that. We're holding that in our pocket in case we need it. Now for the Lower Flower Creek Diversion Dam. Here's some pictures of it. I'll show you in a minute, but I just want to read a report that I got from the Montana Department of Natural Resources and Conservation. So the DNRC administers dam safety, floodplain management, and community assistance programs for Montana communities. The Lower Flood Creek Diversion Dam is owned by the City of Libby. After damage was reported to the structure following the recent flooding, the city and the DNRC's dam safety program coordinated inspection of the diversion structure by licensed engineers with expertise in dam safety. Engineers on site reported that damage was due to seepage along the structure's side and increased water levels, resulting in internal erosion. Engineers and construction crews took actions on the evening of December 14th to lower the dam's water level. Additional work was conducted on the morning of December 15th to stabilize the damaged area. By reducing the water level in the reservoir and stabilizing the damaged area, the risk of failure was reduced, diminishing downstream impacts and ensuring the municipal water supply was not impacted long term. Engineers will continue to be on site and monitor the situation. So that's good news. But I don't think that's over yet. We're going to have to see how this storm coming in affects it, and it's a dam that I think might need some maintenance in the future. So with that, we'll show you some pictures of what the problem we're talking about is.
Double tap.
There we go. So this is a, it's commonly called a boil. It's where water, Sam, you could probably describe this better than I can, but
It's like an artesian well. What happened was the northern wall was sitting up above it, probably about 25 feet in elevation above it. The water came over, it completely saturated all the soil in the retaining bank around it. So now what happens is that water has found a clear way to come down. It hits some type of obstruction and pop back up, so it's boiling out of the water. By reducing the amount of water in the lower reservoir, it reduced the pressure on that boil. It's allowed to get that continuous run through there. It can actually undermine that whole bank and risk the stabilization of that northern wall blasting out.
okay, thank you. So that's on the, looking downstream, that's on the left side of the structure.
And Nick, that has been sandbagged and stabilized.
Okay, thanks.
That was done today.
I forgot to mention that. So here's the structure, and here's another area, problematic area. Sorry. We've had people up there looking at the dam all through the course of this. There's more problematic area. So, worst case scenario, if the dam were to fail, we have inundation maps. That's not in anticipation of the dam failing. All dams have inundation maps. But I'm going to show you what some of them look like. So there is the Lower Flower Creek Reservoir. That's the depth. So this is about 6 to 14 feet right in the center there. Downstream a little bit. More of the same. You're not into homes. You're starting to get close to homes. So 3. Now we're starting to get a little bit closer. So now we're getting into more homes, right? So we're at a depth of 2 to 6 feet here, through there, and then 0 to 2 feet. We don't know that this is going to happen. That's an engineer's best interpretation of the depth, as the mayor and I talked about earlier. The accuracy of it can only be known when the event would actually occur.
And Nick, one thing I could add to that, if everybody's starting to think, oh my God, 2 feet, 6 feet, this was calculated using 24 acre-feet of water with the reduction of 2.5 foot of the head itself, the pressure in that dam. I would probably venture to say we're down to 4 acre-feet of water, which is nothing off compared to what this map was created off of.
Thanks for that, Sam. I could never remember to say that. So yes, it is scary, but remember it's a worst case scenario. Final one. So you've got 0 to 2 feet throughout downtown. I don't know how much damage that would do. It certainly would do damage. How catastrophic that would be, I don't know. But we're looking at that. We're assessing. We've been continuously assessing the condition of the dam, and we'll continue to do that. So that's where that stands right now. That's all I have for a report out right now. Any questions, or I don't know if you guys are supposed to
Council
ask
have any
us.
questions? Does the council have any questions? Okay. I'm going to tell the public that if they have questions to come and talk to you personally over in the Ponderosa room.
Yep.
To answer the public questions.
Be glad to.
Okay. And I don't know if Steve and or Boyd have anything to say.
One last thing I
Okay.
think I forgot to mention. We are developing a website that will be part of the Lincoln County Emergency Management website. It's going to have a page that is a specific disaster landing page. It's basically going to have frequently asked questions. So we're trying to anticipate every question that members of the public would want to know information on, and put the information on this page. And it's going to be a living document. I've already created the content, but we're just working on the back end of it right now. I'm hoping it'll be done tomorrow. But it's going to be a living document. It's going to be updated while we're here, and hopefully after we're here. So we'll point all the social media and everybody to that document to look at things, because when we do things like this, we have a concern with what's called version control. And if we get 2 versions, 3 versions, 4 versions, 5 versions of something like this out in the public, 3 of those 4 are going to be incorrect. So that's why we want this to be the only official source of disaster information related to this incident. And it's a little easier to search than Facebook, like we've been using so far.
Is the EOC number still active?
I believe the EOC
The
number
EOC
is,
number, if anybody would like it, it's 293-6295. Even at night, what they're doing is forward it on, so somebody will be there to answer that phone. I'm not sure how much longer it'll last, but it should be a few more weeks away while the EOC is standing.
That is the phone number for the emergency management office in general, so it'll always be manned during the storm.
Okay.
call volume is decreased on that EOC number, and so we'll keep that going until it makes sense to stop doing it. Call volume is how we've judged that wherever we go, and it's a good thing when call volume goes down. But another reason we do the call center and the EOC number is it helps us collect the information that people are asking about, and it helps inform the information that will be on that disaster landing page I just mentioned. Okay.
Thank you.
Yep, you betcha.
Thank
you.
We do have a question.
I do have one question. So on the map that you're showing with the water coming into downtown Libby, that pertains to the main dam that is not having a problem right now?
No, that's the lower Flower Creek dam. That's the small.
It's the diversion.
Diversion.
To answer that, the upper dam itself, I was physically on the dam yesterday myself. We're running about 2 inches over the primary spillway, and the upper dam itself contains on average about between 240 and 248 acre-feet of water. This modeling was done off of DNRC. They wanted to pop it out real quick based on 24 cubic acre-foot of water, not cubic foot, acre-foot of water. And with the reduction now, we're down to 4 would be a stretching it. On
So that
acre
map's
foot.
overkill.
This map was
Yes.
created prior to the DNRC coming in and reducing the head pressure by 2.5 foot across that pre-sedimentation basin for the resident.
What we're using it for is, should we anticipate a dam failure, that would be the evacuation zone.
Right, so you're just using it for the zone, not for water depth and things.
Not totally. We're not discounting it totally either. But the bigger reservoir that you were talking about, I want to go back to that for a second. As I understand it, there is no threat to that reservoir
Right.
whatsoever. It's a newer facility.
Right, I just wanted to be sure that we were very clear that the Flower Creek Dam has no problem.
The big one.
Yeah.
Thank you for asking that. Okay.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
I appreciate you taking your time to come over and update us on
Thank you.
this. Boyd or Steve, do you have any comments?
I would just take just a minute. Steve Lauer, Libby Fire Department Chief. I just want to make sure that everybody's clear as far as the emergency services. We are very well prepared for any event that happens. The only concern we have right now is the wind. I know we're going to get some rain this week and the streams will come up. I do not get any indication from anybody that we're going to have anything significant flooding like we did last week. Certainly stream rise, stream flows will increase. But we are prepared for wind events. That's the biggest thing we're prepared for that Tuesday, Wednesday time frame. We're just appreciative of all the local contractors that are around for us in the event. I mean, the previous ice jams we had from that Flower Creek, we've got some pretty good pre-plans in place just to deal with that, and obviously this is a situation, but for the flooding, I'm not at all concerned. They've kind of taken the risk out of that lower reservoir. Pretty happy with that. So again, it's just the winds. We have some contingency plans in place, but again, with all the interagency, the local law enforcement, search and rescue, fire, and EMS, we are prepared for anything to respond to and take care of this community. Any questions you have, you should find me afterwards.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Appreciate it very much.
Mayor, council, thank you for your time. I just wanted to stop in and kind of chime in a little bit about some of the messaging that went out over Code Red and some of the timing of it and stuff. And we know, that the timing was not ideal. Just the problem with that was the timing was that's when we received the information. And by the time we received the information, at 8 o'clock at night, and we quantify that information and assign a value to it and decide how we're going to deliver that messaging, Code Red becomes the best option. And, it kind of gets people stirred up, and rightfully so. I understand. I live underneath in the Flower Creek drainage, so, I've been monitoring this for my own family safety. And we just felt like, based off the information that we received from Montana DES that night, that we had to push something out and to let the public know that there was a concern, even though we also personally believe the concern was maybe less than what DES was telling us. But if we didn't push out some information and something did happen, what would that look like? And so it was kind of the lesser of two evil options that we felt like. So that's why we pushed that stuff out when we did. And, if anybody has any comments, concerns, questions, my office is open. I'm in there a lot right now, pretty much from 6 o'clock in the morning till we finish our last briefings around 6 o'clock at night. Since the incident management team is here, I've been relieved of my duties, happen to be out in the field, and I'm back in there trying to coordinate with them and make sure that they have the resources they need and that they have the contacts they need to be able to manage this incident. So, just like I said, I want to make sure that those things are clear. I know there's a lot of concerns, and I understood those concerns before we went ahead and pushed it out, because we as citizens would have been concerned if we were on the receiving end. It didn't have that. We did try to set up the forwarding of the EOC line to the information officer on that date, but you know how great technology is. It works until it doesn't. And we've done some call forwarding where it's working and then it just stops for whatever reason. And we got to bring our IT guy back in to work on the system. And he set it up, took it all on his own to receive those calls, knew that he was probably going to get calls all night, got a few calls as I understood it, and then it just turned off again. So, we apologize for that inconvenience, but really felt like we had to share that with our constituents.
Thank you, Boyd.
Thank you.
Appreciate it very much. And like I said, if you have questions, you can find these guys over here in the EMA and the Ponderosa room. They're really good about answering questions from the public. So I'll move on to department heads. I'm sure that Mr. Sykes.
I can come up with something.
Okay. It's been a very trying few days for all of us.
So primarily I've been working with engineers and everything on the lower reservoir, ensuring the upper dam's integrity and everything. The one good shining bright news, our sewer plant runs flawlessly. It was like it never even happened down there. The source water protection plan that we had in place worked like a charm. There's no sheet flows across the ground. Everything's just smooth and golden. So to talk just a little about the boil order that we had to put in place. So the peak that we reached at the water plant was at 1:35 p.m. actually on the 11th. That's when we lost the plant, is what we call it. We don't actually lose the plant, but we lose the capability to take out the turbidity enough to guarantee its safety without a boil order. So at that time, it was immediately called into the DEQ, who sent it out to get the boil order going, and Leanne worked with everybody on that side, helping us out with the water plant. We got the boil order in place, and just to let you know some background numbers, NT uses it's a big word, but it means turbidity to floating stuff in the water. So if we hit NTUs of 15, it's a struggle. It's difficult to maintain, it's difficult to control. The blast last week when we lost the plant, it hit 17, but within 4 hours we were over 100 NTUs. So that's why we had to do the boil order. Just to let you know, currently I was up at the plant about maybe 2 o'clock this afternoon. We're currently running 7 NTUs, so the plant's running fine. The problem is we are using double the amount of water that we don't have in storage with the lower reservoir being lowered. So right now we're handling and maintaining it, but I've got more engineers coming in and we're going to come up with a solution for that. So what happens now, we would be good on the water to lift the boil order, but we're waiting for a blast coming on the storm. And also we have to meet a lot of different parameters as far as chloroform bacterias. We have to check that. And then we also have to really check for heavy metals that could have washed down through any of our system. So we took emergency samples over to Kalispell today, and tomorrow about 10 o'clock in the morning we're going to do the same thing and shoot samples over. So we're hoping to be able to lift the boil order through the DEQ maybe in a couple days, depending on what this storm does. A lot of it's just been working with engineers coming up with responses, so they've pretty much covered that unless there's any specific questions as to the reservoir systems. And if I could make one comment, that inundation map, I believe it was to be used for just showing the areas because of the lack of water. I was up there not 4 hours ago taking pictures of the remaining water. It's a few pockets on the outside branch, which is causing concern because if we look at needing 1,200 gallons per minute and we don't have the storage come winter, if that freezes up or does something, then we have no water for the city. So believe it or not, we've had probably 5 hours worth of meetings today with everybody across the state, and we're bringing in specialized engineers to assist in getting that going. The Army Corps engineers was doing great with us, working with us. It was just outside their scope, but they're still offering technical assistance. The DNRC activated 3 engineers to come in to give us that preliminary assistance. Everybody's been great and helping with us and reaching out.
Thank you.
Thank you. Move on to committee reports. Building.
No report at this time.
Melissa, is there any update on the wings?
I do not have an update.
Okay. Fire, that's last week, our last meeting. Streets.
We have a meeting in January.
And you did have a meeting, but we didn't have a...
Right, we did have a meeting, but this, this meeting was so very large, we went ahead and held our items.
Okay. Then there's no ordinance, and we've covered the water sewer. So we'll move on to items that are not on the agenda. So if there's anyone out in the audience that wants to talk about an item that is not on the agenda, you can do so. You may step to the podium, state your name and address, and the item you want to discuss needs to be within the scope of the city council, the jurisdiction of the city council. And if your item is on the agenda for a later time, then we'd ask that you hold those comments. So if you have a comment on items not on the agenda, you're welcome to step to the podium. You will have 3 minutes. So any public comments on items not on the agenda? Public comments on items not on the agenda. Mr. Orr?
I'll probably talk to the fellows out there, but just for all of your edification, the former city employee has been messaging me, and he acknowledged that that lower dam was patched with bentonite. He thought 10 years ago, maybe 8 years ago. The pictures that I was seeing there definitely show that it had some problems that were neglected. We talked about the neglect of the creek beds and the settling ponds. The bed load in the creeks is 4 foot higher than it was in 1997 when we finished dredging the creeks. That means that the water that's coming down there doesn't have room to come down there without spilling out of the banks. That is because those settling ponds have not been properly maintained. So it's, a lot of this is negligence, and I think we're about to get some new bunch here. Maybe we'll get some better results.
Any other public comments on items not on the agenda?
I got a public comment. What sucks is some of us are affected by what happens on that dam, and we're not in city limits. I'm at 341 Cedar Street Extension, the very end of that road. And that's exactly it, and we don't get a lot of cohesiveness clearly with the county and the city. Like, we're at this other meeting, this town hall meeting, and we're trying to get answers. Some people say, well, you gotta ask the city. There wasn't, why there wouldn't be the two of the government entities that we are working with telling us things together. Why you guys don't work together that well is beyond me. You know, to not plan a meeting together that you knew were questions we were all going to be asking. We're all going to be asking questions about the dam, all of us that live on Flower Creek, whether we're in city limits or not. That's what we're going to be asking about. Because I'm way up there. I'm way past that lower flood area. I'm up and up. So if something happens, I'm in that maybe 6 foot range. And if they're so worried about water over lights, I got a mudslide above my house that is caused by a city water leak from the View Trailer Court. That thing has probably leaked for 20 years. It's been the only patch that will grow grass on that whole entire hill. And this year it happens to slough, and it still was leaking until it started snowing. They said, oh, it's probably done, but it's not pretty, it's scary. So I got a flood on one side and a mudslide on the other side, and I got a city that won't talk to me because I'm in the county. And so it is pretty frustrating that you guys can't figure out how to work together and be better for the whole community. You know, whether it be the county or the city. We need representatives that help us. So that's what I have to say, because I'm not getting that from anybody. I get calls over my mudslide, and I get, you're in the county, it's a city problem. It's Scotty Thompson's fault because it was his trailer court. It's somebody's fault because it's old crap that's there. And they got no way to monitor how many gallons that are leaking into a fucking mountain. Excuse my mouth. Sorry, but it's been frustrating because, yeah, I lost about 10 feet of yard, 8 feet of yard, which ain't the worst because people downstream of me has lost more. But I also got about a chunk of mud the size of a house bearing down on me. The only thing that's holding is trees, and it's not getting better with this weather, you know. And that's caused by a city water problem. So you guys want to keep charging people, but you want to add to it, but you don't also want to fix what you have. That's what you almost need to do, is fix what you have, and then start working on the infrastructure further out, because we're all paying bills for it, and it's not better. I pay a $70 bill out on Pioneer Road for a road that water that's turned off just for being connected. No water even to it. Where does my money go to? You know?
Okay.
Sorry.
Are there any other public comments for items not on the agenda? Other public comments on items not on the agenda? Public comments? Then we will move on to our new business. Our first new business is Resolution 2065, the intent to consider annexing Partial H of Certificate of Survey 4993, known as Timberland Business Park. Let me, just a second, I need to unmute. Jeremy, where are you on my list? There you are. I need to unmute our engineer, our contract engineer regarding subdivisions, to give us a rundown of this resolution. I will read the first paragraph. It's a resolution of the City Council of Libby, Montana, intending to consider the annexation of real property Parcel H, Certificate of Survey 4993, located in the southwest corner of Section 10, Township 30 North, Range 31 West, PMM, Lincoln County, Montana, and it will be annexed into the City of Libby, Montana, and establish conditions for annexation.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear? Can everybody hear
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right, I will just run through quickly. I prepared a small staff report for the review of the request for annexation from Noble Investment Properties to annex 31.625 acres on the south side of Libby, east of Highway 2. And as the mayor expressed, the property is legally described as Parcel H, certificate of survey number 4993. Let's see. So the proposal, so just as a little bit of background and I guess preempt the next sections of the agenda, we need to go in order of annexation, zoning, and subdivision. That's important because the property is currently outside of the city limits, and so in order for the city to have authority to review and set zoning and review the subdivision application, we have to first review the request to annex and approve a resolution of intent to annex the property, which gives the city then the authority to review and pre-zone the property and then review the subdivision application. So that's why the agenda is set up the way it is. The property is 31.625 acres adjacent to the city of Libby. The applicant is requesting city water and sewer services so they can develop the property into 16 commercial and industrial lots. The applicant, with the subdivision application, proposes construction of a sewer main extensions and service to each lot, and as well as a looped water main through the property. The city, after everything is constructed by the applicant, the city would own and maintain the water mains after final annexation and final subdivision approval. New city streets would also be developed within the development to meet city standards. This will provide legal and physical access to all lots within the development. The property currently has legal and physical access from Highway 2, and that will be maintained with the subdivision application. We analyzed for several things. The first one is growth policy review. I'm not going to run through and read through all of this, but the proposal is in compliance with the growth policy, as well as this reviewed against the zoning established in the TED district, and it is in compliance with the TED zoning. Infrastructure, the property will be served by city water and sewer once the subdivision is developed. I will also note that this is a resolution of intent to annex. So if you approve this resolution of intent to annex, this sets a set of conditions that the applicant has to meet in order to do final annexation into the city. So the resolution of intent does not annex the property into the city at this time. It only informs that the city has the intent to annex as long as the applicant meets those conditions in the resolution. Again, I'm not going to run through all of these. I think just because we have a lot on the agenda, staff does recommend approval of the resolution of intent to annex with the conditions, and we've lined out 10 conditions in the resolution of intent. And the last condition, number 10, was a condition that was added by the planning board. And the planning board, with that additional condition, recommended approval of the annexation resolution of intent to the city council. So with that, I'll turn it back over to you if there's any questions.
Jeremy, you were going to mention exactly what a TED was, a Targeted Economic Development District, and how, because there's been some concerns about how that affects the taxes the city will collect off that annexation.
So yes, my understanding and experience with economic development districts is that the base tax rate would stay the same. So once the property is annexed into the city and these lots will be final platted, so there'll be 16 lots annexed into the city at the end of the project. Each lot will be taxed at the base rate that the city currently taxes property. What the TED does is it captures any additional value added to the property after it's developed. So, so the city would get their taxes for the basically the unimproved lots, and then once the property is developed, once a lot is developed, that additional increase in property taxes is captured by the TED district, and that money is used to fund infrastructure within the TED. Now that district is time sensitive. The TED can't exist forever. And I could not find the actual ordinance that passed this TED, but it was adopted from what I could find in 2016. So it's almost 10 years old now. And so I believe MCA allows for 15 to 20 years for a TED. So they potentially have another 5 to 10 years on the TED. And once the TED expires, then all the tax essentially goes to the city.
Okay. Thank you. So does the council have any questions for Mr. Fadness regarding this request for annexation and the resolution of intent?
Thank you. I did have quite a few
okay.
questions.
We do.
I would also.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
We should also let the applicant or the applicant's representative probably just make a presentation or have some comments if they wish to comment, and then maybe we can go into council questions.
Okay, thank you. Andy.
I think Andy is on.
He is here. He is here.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and members of the council. Andy Evanson, I'm the technical representative for Noble Investment Properties. Just a couple of comments on the annexation and zoning. Really the biggest thing is the vision for the property owner and what they want the development to look like. And so there's been a long history with the port property and mixed results on getting that cleaned up and making it into a usable condition. And so kind of the vision for the property is to bring in new industrial and small commercial businesses that will support the communities of Libby and Lincoln County. And we think that the proposed zoning associated with the property fulfills that vision. So thank you. I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys have to.
Gail, you had a question?
No, I just had a comment, but I did have quite a few questions, but I think they've all been adequately answered.
Okay. Any other questions from the council?
I'll make a motion to approve the Timberlands Business Park.
No. You want to approve Resolution 2065.
Sorry.
It's written right out there for you. All you have to do is read it.
Sorry, I already turned the page.
So,
My
sorry.
bad. Approve Resolution 2065 of intent to consider annexation parcel H, COS 4993, known as Timberlands Business Park.
Second.
Okay. So if the council doesn't have any other comments or questions, I will open it for public comment. Are there public comment regarding this request for annexation and the intent resolution to annex? Any public comment on the resolution of intent to annex? Mr. Orr?
DC Orr, 1117 Nevada Avenue. Pretty big document, short time to look it over. One of the big things I see in looking through it is one of the great things that city has going for it in commercial development is what they call plant investment fees. And plant investment fees are prepayment of the impacts that these developments have on our infrastructure. And they're pretty high. They pay down so that the people sitting behind me don't have to pay it later. Plant investment fees in the past have tried to be passed as being called connection fees. Connection fees are a very different thing. What I don't see in this plan is plant investment fees. So I want to make sure that we actually get some money out of Mr. Noble. And I want to make sure that you guys are planning on charging plant investment fees. Now the other thing, we had a big frou-for-all back in October when we were passing some minutes, and the administrator had some minutes of a meeting he had had with the Port Authority attorneys and Mr. Noble. But it wasn't just him, because he said we met with them and the city met with them. And then I was called to a point of order over that, and we never got to finish discussing that. But the mayor's secret negotiations with those guys is a huge concern. And I think that the mayor ought to have something in writing telling what she had done with those guys in those meetings. The Port Authority acknowledges that they meet with Sam and the mayor. That's in their minutes. That's a matter of public record. I want to know what the mayor has negotiated for the people of Libby in secret meetings. Thank you.
Okay. Any other public comments on the motion for annexation or intent to annex? Any other public comments? Other public comments? Then I would bring the discussion back to the council table. The motion is on the floor to approve Resolution 2065. Does anyone at the council have comments?
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I don't have the date and the information in front of me. I believe when we first talked about this, Mr. Sykes had some information about what those investment fees were, hookup fees. I don't know what that is off. I don't have that information with me.
Actually, the hotel alone was going to bring in right at $100,000 in plant investment fees. And that was part of the discussion we had at the budget, where it's pointed out that we were expecting the revenue and what revenue had been received the previous year. They are charged on all new hookups. There's tapping fees, which is the connecting fee, which is $500, and then there's a plant investment fee. So both are charged for all new hookups. The good part about this is that the infrastructure gets placed for free, and we get the plant investment fees, and we'll be getting the hookup fees as part of those plant investment fees.
Is there a formula or a form that we can?
Actually, there is. It's on the sheet when they sign up for it. It says tapping fee $500. They have to provide their own curb stop meter pit, but if we have to install it, their prices on those, it's $100 and then $900. And plant investment fee, there's a formula. For a hotel, it has X amount of rooms times X, and there's an amount that's required by them.
Thank you.
I'm also going to point out that once this property is annexed, it would be also paying into the street and lighting maintenance funds based on that formula that would apply to them. Any other council comments or questions? Then all in favor of the motion to approve Resolution 2065?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We will move on to the next part of this process, and that is to the public hearing for pre-zoning Timberlands Business Park. We are holding a public hearing to solicit that public comment concerning amending the Libby zoning map to pre-zone the property known as Timberland Business Park. I'm going to open the public comment. I'm going to open the public hearing. We will have an introduction again from Mr. Fadness, and he will review the staff report, applicant presentation, public comment, and any go down to applicant rebuttal if they want to talk about anything that was said as public comment, the council discussion, and then we'll adjourn and make a decision regarding this pre-zoning.
Madam Mayor,
yes.
Mr. Fadness just texted me and said my Zoom just crashed. I'm trying to get back on now.
Oh, okay.
So we'll have to wait for you.
Okay. We'll give him a few minutes.
did you want the applicant to do a presentation?
If that's okay, if you'd like to get out of order, and we'll wait for him to get back on.
Andy Evanson again. I think Jeremy's going to touch on it a little bit, but I think the plan for the zoning is there's two different zoning categories along US Highway 2. We'll have the highway commercial zoning district, and then internal to the business park we'll have light industrial. So I think that's one consistent with the rest of Libby and moving towards the highway commercial throughout the highway corridor, and then the industrial zoning internal to the rest of the business park. That's really consistent with the other uses in that area, given that we border the rest of the Cooney Business Park with the Lincoln County Port Authority, and then there's some other existing businesses there to the north with UPS and that sort of thing. So feel like the zoning that we're proposing is consistent with the other land uses in the area. So appreciate your consideration. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Fadness is back online. Andy was offering some comments before while we were waiting for you to connect. So go ahead.
Thanks. Sorry, my Zoom crashed, and for some reason when it crashes, it won't let me get back on my computer unless I restart. So I got on my phone. So hopefully this works. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. So this is the pre-zoning of the property that you were just looking at. I prepared a review memo for the ordinance to pre-zone the property. The proposal is to consider the amendment of the Libby zoning map to designate the property to be known as Timberlands Business Park Subdivision, lots 1, 2, 3, 13, 14, 15, and 16 to Highway Commercial District, and lots 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 to Industrial District. I won't reiterate legal description and all that stuff. We already did that. Again, this was reviewed against the growth policy as is required for zoning. As you can see in the analysis, the request does meet the growth policy requirements. Again, also we looked at it in relation to the TED district zoning, and the proposed zoning does also meet the TED district zoning as well. There are several requirements that MCA state law requires for review of a zone map amendment, and I've listed those in my memo. Again, we have a lot to cover, so I'm not going to go through each one of these. The gist of the analysis is that with the zoning that's put in place once the property is annexed into the city, all the requirements will be met as far as public health and safety, protection from fire and other dangers, provision for water and sewer, with annexation and subdivision development, and access. So with that, staff recommends the approval of the ordinance to pre-zone the property as stated previously.
Okay. Did you have anything else to say, Andy, based on his comments? Then we will move to public comments. I'll open the floor for public comments on the pre-zoning. If you have a public comment regarding the zoning that will be applied to the Timberlands Business Park, step to the podium and make your comments. Any public comments? Public comments? Then I'll bring it back to the council table. The action is to approve Resolution 2065, intent to consider annexing parcel H, Certificate of Survey 4993, known as Timberlands Business Park. This would be the first reading. The second reading would be scheduled for January 20th in 2026. So do I have a motion? Or did I just read that? Did I skip wrong? I did, didn't I? it is, or what the motion is, I have too many pieces of paper. It will be the first reading of ordinance 2066, I'm sorry, excuse me, to approve amending the Libby zoning map to rezone the property known as Timberlands Business Park. Yes.
Public hearing first?
Close the public hearing.
Sorry.
Yes, I'm sorry. The applicant's rebuttal? Okay. Council decision, discussion, any council discussion? Sorry.
The only thing I would offer is when the zoning commission was evaluating the zoning request, we had put a lot of work into most all of our other zoning districts that govern the city of Libby. And the one district that has not yet gotten attention is the industrial district. And so the zoning commission wanted those parameters regarding lots 4 through 12 because the industrial district is very broad and anything goes there. Knowing that this is a Superfund site with restrictions from the EPA on residential uses, the zoning commission recommends those restrictions be codified with the annexation document that we just did and then be a subdivision. So.
Okay. Thank you. Any other council comments? Any other council comments? Okay, then I will adjourn the public hearing and then I'll move on to the action, which is the approving the first reading of the ordinance 2066.
Make a motion to approve the first reading of ordinance 2066.
I'll second.
Okay. Are there any comments? Again, then all in favor of the approval of first reading ordinance 2066?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. That will move us on to the second public hearing, and that is in regards to the subdivision preliminary plat approval. We'll open a second public hearing on this for the subdivision. Again, staff report, comments, applicant presentation. Go ahead, Jeremy.
Yeah, thanks. So this one is a little bit longer than the last one, the last couple. In accordance with the Libby subdivision regulations and state law, we have certain criteria that we have to review for a subdivision application. And so my staff report and the planning board recommendations from their meeting reflect those Montana state law and subdivision regulation requirements. So I'm just gonna, I'm not gonna read through this entire staff report, otherwise we'll be here for another hour. I'm just gonna try to hit the high points of this and try to get through this so that we can get to any comments from Andy and then the public and then your discussion. So again, the proposal is for Timberlands Business Park Major Subdivision. It is for 16 lots. The existing parcel size is 31.625 acres. Minimum lot size is 0.463 acres. The maximum lot size is 15.433 acres. The applicant is proposing the development in one phase, and what that means is by state law and the subdivision regulations that the final plat has to be completed within 3 years of the preliminary plat approval. And so they would have to have all the infrastructure installed, all the conditions addressed, and have an application submitted to the city within 3 years of the approval date. They can request an extension of that from the city council if needed. And the city council would have to hold a public hearing on that extension request if that were to happen. Access is proposed from Highway 2 at its intersection with Cedar Street. There is a proposed new road, Dawson Mill Road, will provide direct access to the subdivision from Highway 2. There is a secondary access of Industrial Way to the east. 3 additional roads / driveways will be platted and constructed to provide access to lots and adjacent property connectivity. MDT will need to provide the approval for the new approach to Highway 2 prior to final plat. All streets will be constructed to city standards, and no off-site road improvements are proposed with the project. The traffic impact study indicates the subdivision could produce up to 1,213 trips per day when the subdivision is fully built out. The subdivision will be served by city water and sewer. All lots will have city water and sewer services. Two new gravity sewer mains are proposed to be constructed. One to the west and one to the east, kind of splits the subdivision. Also, there's a looped water main proposed to provide water to the proposed subdivision and all the lots. The application indicates there's not adequate storage capacity for the city to provide 3,500 gallons per minute fire flow. So the 3,500 gallons per minute of fire flow is in relation to building code requirements. So for commercial development and depending on type of building construction and those sorts of things, because of the commercial and industrial use, 3,500 gallons per minute is the I believe that's the minimum for the type of use, but those could be different depending on type of construction. That is a building code requirement, and therefore at the time of building permit, each building will have to meet their own requirement for fire protection. So they will likely, the buildings within this development will be required to put in fire sprinklers in their buildings to supplement fire flow. Finally, the city and DEQ will be required to review and approve all main extensions prior to construction. And a municipal facilities exclusion, we call an MFE, which is the DEQ subdivision portion of the review, will be required to be approved by the city and DEQ prior to final plat. Stormwater will be, there is a grading and drainage plan provided with the subdivision application. Includes road plan and profile sheets. The grading plan shows stormwater drainage will consist of drainage channels and retention ponds to treat and infiltrate stormwater for the project. So the project will treat its own stormwater as required by the City of Libby engineering standards, DEQ, whatever the requirement is for those, and that's provided with the application. Solid waste, each lot owner will be required to dispose of solid waste or contract with a hauler such as Evergreen Disposal, and that solid waste will be disposed at the county landfill. The Libby Volunteer Fire Department and Police Department will provide service to the development. There is no floodplains located within the development. There is a flood hazard area that is shown adjacent to the subdivision, to the south and east, but it is not within the subdivision. So no floodplain requirements are required. There are no cultural resources. The Stimson Lumber Mill Central Maintenance Building is actually listed in SHPO's letter for cultural resources, but that building has since been removed from the site, and therefore it does not appear the project will impact any significant historic sites. There are no water or mineral rights associated with the property, so none will be transferred. So as we go through this, we have 5 criteria we have to review for. We have to review for effects on agriculture, effects on agricultural water users, natural resources, local services, wildlife and wildlife habitat, and public health and safety. And so the next sections are simply our analysis of the impacts to those. So effects on agriculture, the property is not currently agricultural. It's previously used for development. And Janet,
Sorry, I don't know what happened. You just heard.
hold on a second. My wife turned the TV on.
I'm not doing that.
Anyway, So there's no effects on agriculture. Agricultural water user facilities, there are no water user facilities on the property, and therefore no agricultural water user facilities will be impacted. There will be impacts to local services. So obviously there will be impacts to city water and sewer. New gravity mains will be constructed, as well as a looped water system. And this, as part of the conditions, DEQ and the city will have to review all of those main extensions and prior to construction, and all of that information will have to be provided to the city prior to final plat. Further, the city will have to, or the developer will have to certify that all of those improvements were completed to the approved plans prior to final plat approval. Highway 2 access, MDT will have to review and approve that approach onto Highway 2, and that will have to be constructed to MDT standards and certified again prior to final plat. Let's see. Stormwater will have to be constructed meeting the approved plan. I think those are the big things I think on here. And so we have obviously a list of conditions that go along with effects on local services to mitigate any impacts to those. I would point out that the one big one that we do have in here that we put in as a standard condition is the subdivider has to provide a waiver of right to protest the creation of an RID or SID for maintenance of roads, water, sewer, stormwater, lights, so lighting districts, that sort of thing. So, and those waiver of right to protest are good for 20 years. And that applies to all the lots within this development. Impacts on the natural environment. This section, there's not a lot of impacts to natural environment. The site is, has been developed, is currently being developed. It's got a long history of development on this property. Therefore, they have to do a noxious weed management plan to control weeds, and then they have their SWIP that is required to protect any sediment from going off-site. Same thing with wildlife and wildlife habitat. The site has been historically developed, therefore there is not a high likelihood that wildlife or wildlife habitat will be impacted. Public health and safety. Again, this kind of goes towards the effect on local services. Obviously, public health and safety, there's going to be some impacts with the additional trips per day coming out on Highway 2. That can be mitigated with the approach permit approval from MDT and ensuring that those improvements are completed to MDT requirements. We did add a condition that the subdivider will be required to show that they're in compliance with the remediation requirements for the Superfund site prior to final plat. And I think that's about it for public health and safety. So those are our required things that we have to review for. There's also sections in here that the City Council has to review for compliance for approval. The first one is provides easements within and to the proposed subdivision for the location of planned utilities. Our analysis indicates that all easements and rights-of-way are shown on the plat. Further, all of those will have to be provided and shown on the final plat that's approved by the City Council when they submit that for approval. Provides for legal and physical access to each parcel. Our finding is that they meet that. They have access to Highway 2. We have a secondary access on Industrial Way, and then they will have to meet any MDT requirements for the approach construction. Assures that all required public or private improvements will be installed before final plat. The City of Libby subdivision regulations actually lays out what is required to be completed prior to final plat. We also have specific conditions on what, in the conditions of approval, on what they have to complete and what they can financially guarantee prior to final plat. The next one is disclosure of water rights. There are no water rights with the property, so there are no impacts there. The next one is regarding water course and irrigation easements. Again, there's no irrigation ditches on the property, therefore, and no drainages exist, so that one is met as well. And then provides for appropriate parkland dedication. Commercial and industrial uses do not require parkland dedication, so that section is met as well. With that, we do have a recommendation to the City Council for approval with conditions. The Planning Board did review this at their own public hearing, and they did make a recommendation to add a couple of conditions in. So condition 15E was added, and it states dry utilities shall be installed and available to each lot, including power and telecommunications. Excuse me. And then condition 18, this is what Kristen was alluding to during the zoning discussion, and this was also added to the, part of this was also added to the annexation conditions. But number 18 is the subdivider shall prepare covenants that run with the land and are only revocable or changed by approval of the Libby City Council that include the following. Lots 4 through 12 shall not be used for any residential purpose. And B, inclusion of Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks living with wildlife information. That was also a Planning Board recommended condition. So with that, I will turn it back over to you.
Thank you. We'll ask for any applicant presentation.
Thank you. Just a couple points that I'd like to add to Jeremy's presentation. Number one, this property is a historic property. There's a lot of things that have happened on it. Being the location of 2 Superfund sites with asbestos and groundwater contamination. We started this process back in 2022 and started working with the Asbestos Resource Program and EPA just to kind of figure out what we were up against, what we needed to address moving forward and trying to develop the property. And so with those 20 conditions of approval, the vast majority of those have already been completed. With regard to the city's water sewer infrastructure, we've already put together design plans and submitted those to DEQ and have had those approved. Some of the infrastructure has been installed, it's in the ground with the water and sewer. DEQ had concerns with the groundwater contamination, so the water system out there is made out of ductile iron pipe, not PVC. So there's some upgrades to the city just to make sure that the public health and safety is addressed. Traffic with MDT, there were a couple of comments about needing to get an approach permit onto Highway 2. That has already been obtained from MDT. They've looked at our traffic impact study and concurred with that. We kind of went back and forth with them a little bit on the location of the approach, and it made sense to align it with the existing Cedar Street. MDT with the current projected traffic volumes didn't have concerns with needing a traffic light or anything like that, so it's proposed as just a stop sign. If there is any further development within the port outside of this property, MDT will have the opportunity to reevaluate that approach. So if there ever is a need for a traffic signal with increased traffic, that can still be done. And I think the last thing I wanted to touch on was the water system with the fire flows. Jeremy was correct. The city's system in this area has fire flows for around 2,500 to 3,000 gallons per minute, and the minimum for commercial industrial is 3,500. So any new buildings in there will have to supplement that with sprinkler systems. And we did work with the fire department on locating hydrants, that was covered as well. So that's all I had, and I'm happy to answer any questions you guys have. Thank you.
Thank you. Move to public comment. If you have a public comment on the subdivision request, step to the podium and make your comment. You have 3 minutes. So any public comments on the subdivision request? Public comments? Any public comments? Public comments? Then seeing none, I will just, do you have anything else to add, Andy? Okay, then council discussion. Does council have any questions or comments?
I appreciate the level of effort that has gone into preparing this application. It's the first one the city has seen in a very long time, and I think it's exciting to finally see that business park, which has been sitting for 25 years, have a future to it. So.
Okay. Any other public or council comments? Okay, then I will close the public hearing, adjourn, and move on to the action item, which is to approve the Timberlands Business Park major subdivision with its conditions.
Make a motion to approve the Timberlands Business Park major subdivision with conditions.
Second.
Then all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have the first step of the subdivision for the minor, for the, I'm sorry, I'm losing my voice. So we do have, that motion is approved. And I'm going to suggest we take 5 minutes and stand up and stretch, and then we'll come back and finish the agenda.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Jeremy. I appreciate it very much.
Yep.
I'm going to get some hot water and see if I can.
Hot water?
Yes.
Thank you. I really needed to stay.
I thought everybody did.
You go get food? I just filled it up. Oh, all right. We don't have a filter on that. I didn't even think about that. Water filter. Don't cry.
I know it'll be okay.
I just turned it on again. It's hot.
Wow, Red Bull. Need some wings?
Absolutely. Clear my trash. I did not bring enough candy for that. I ran out. Do we need to go open up?
Oh, sorry.
Do we need to open up Sam's office? Do I get some more candy? Oh, he's not looking. Let's go. Like another house. More down the way.
Seriously, my eyes were rolling around in my head. I was like, oh dear God. As he was talking. It's like, I've already read it twice. Oh, I know. But I get it. Right. Yeah, let's get because I'm capable, maybe, I'm not sure. But I'm feeling it's a strong possibility.
Yeah.
I saw you doing my thing that I was doing when I was talking about Yep. Every time.
Figure out what we're gonna call it.
Right? Yeah. I know what to call it. Conceptual, which is conceptual. Exactly. Oh, yeah, they're pretty cool.
Because they should be having discussions.
Yeah, figured.
Thank you, Kristen. Thank you. No, you were just there. My cheeks are getting all red.
Hey, that was warm.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah, it's
warm
a little
earlier.
warm in here.
I thought so.
I thought it was just
I was starting to roast. I'm like,
You know it's okay when Peggy doesn't have her blanket and coat on.
right?
Where's Sam?
He's over there.
So we will call this meeting back to order and move on to the next agenda item, which was the reappointment of the Libby Shade Tree Committee. That committee existed at one point. It kind of went defunct, but we do have an ordinance that allows for it. Jennifer Nelson was going to come and speak to it because Jennifer is the driving force behind wanting to reorganize the tree board. Since she's not here, I'm going to pass that along and see if she can be at the next council meeting to address that. I know she has a list of people who are interested in working with their trees. There were a lot of trees planted. They haven't been getting a lot of attention since then, including the pruning, and that is one of the areas in which the tree board can assist the council and the city. So, does anyone have a comment or any about the tree board? Council?
No, I think it'd be good to have them back in action.
So the next item that needs an action is the appointment for the planning board, zoning board. I did put out applications or a request for applications for the positions. We have three openings. The Kristen Smith's appointment as the representative from the council is expiring. Gail Berger's term would be expiring, and Jennifer Nelson's term as the representative from the county is expiring. But since we had no applications, we can fill those by making some adjustments in the terms. Kristen is willing to continue her action on the planning board, so we could move her into the city representative. Gail would move up to the representative from the appointed by the council as from its membership, and that would leave the only opening as the commissioner's appointment, and they are looking for someone to fill that. And that person can be either from the city or in the greater planning board area. So I did provide letters of interest from both Gail and Kristen, and Jennifer's letter of saying that she did not want to continue. And so that would be my recommendation, to make those two appointments. Kristen as the appointment from the city of Libby, and Gail's as the member from the membership of the council.
I would make a motion to approve appointments to the planning board, zoning board.
Second.
Okay. Any comments or questions from the council? Any public comments on these appointments? Any public comments regarding these appointments? Public comments? Then all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We will continue to try to fill that current vacancy. Brings us to the city council appointment. We did have 3 applications. Mr. Chisholm, I think, has some comments, because there was some questions about whether or not the council could make an appointment, whether or not the vacancy actually does exist. Vacancy is being created by Mr. Taylor being elected as mayor, and his position would become vacant. Mr. Chisholm?
Yeah, thank you. I think you might have seen my emails on the subject recently. We don't have a lot of recent precedent, but there was a 1955 Attorney General's opinion that indicated that an elected spot subject to appointment should not be filled prior to the vacancy of that spot. There was a Supreme Court case a couple of years later that indicated that as long as the position or the candidate for the position wasn't installed prior to the vacancy, that it would meet Montana constitutional muster. So I think it's very likely that whether we make this decision tonight or 2 weeks from now, it would meet with Montana constitutional and statutory provisions. It might be a little safer to wait for a week or two, but I also noted, I think in the email, that Missoula and several other cities have the same appointment policy that we have. They've never been challenged, and I would probably be comfortable proceeding either way. Again, an abundance of caution would say we shouldn't have this vote for another couple of weeks, but it's a difference of degree. And I'm happy to respond to any questions.
Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Chisholm? Council?
I'm comfortable making the appointment tonight. They won't be sworn in until the beginning, and then the mayor has a full council.
Okay.
I agree.
Any other comments from the council regarding this?
I'm all good.
So you're in agreement to proceed forward with the interviews and applications?
Yes.
Okay. Then I'm going to ask Mr. Sykes to take the 3 applicants back to your office, and we will bring them out one by one for for interview. Do you have a preference as to who you'd like to have first?
Who would you like first, Madam Mayor?
Anybody have preference? Then just decide among yourselves and send somebody out.
Alphabetical.
I was almost going to say that.
Draw straws.
So,
What they do is
They're drawing straws.
Yeah.
Mr. Beebe, alphabetical order, huh?
Why not?
So, you can make a short statement about yourself, and then the council will ask any questions they might have.
In the interest of public disclosure, I would just read my letter of intent, or letter of interest. I would like to express my interest in the vacant city council opening. I have applicable work experience, and I feel I would represent the people in the city with due regard to relevant MCA, local ordinance, city policy, procedure, and the Constitution in an unbiased and nonpartisan manner. My interest lies in supporting and helping my friends, neighbors, and the citizens of Libby. There is no greater honor than to be in service of others. My intention is to serve in the best public interest, participate in meetings and hearings, avoid personal and professional conflict, and to conduct these duties in the highest ethical and moral manner. I would always act in the best interest of the citizens of Libby in a fair and reasonable manner, maintain confidentiality where applicable, respecting the public's right to participate in city government, and to bring the concerns of the citizens to the council and mayor for appropriate resolution. I would conduct myself at all times, in a manner that reflects the highest standard of conduct, promoting public trust and encouraging civil deliberation and participation so as to reflect a positive public image on the office in the city of Libby. Please consider this letter an application. Any questions?
Okay. I'll start over here with Mr. Taylor. Do you have any questions for the applicant?
I've got the same question for all three of them.
Okay.
We got people from the public's reached out to me with some questions, and I mulled through the better ones that I had. And so if as a council member you receive firsthand information of misconduct regarding a person of power, and then we're told by administration that by taking this person, or excuse me, by talking to this person, you have jeopardized your seat, would you remain silent or would you bring this forward?
Bring it forward.
That was my question.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Ms. Smith?
I don't have any questions.
Mr. Cole?
I guess mine's more of a general question. Would getting this seat affect your standing on the Government Study Commission? Like, would you have to resign your position there?
I would have to resign now, yes.
No further.
Okay. Mr. Zimmerman?
What out of your opinion is the greatest thing that the city has to take into account in its daily operations?
Well, first and foremost is public safety, infrastructure, budget.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Ms., do you have another question? Ms.
Did I
Brooks?
take yours?
No.
Oh, sorry.
I have a bunch, but I'm gonna just do one. How do you plan to involve the community in your decision-making process?
The public interest drives my decision-making. In my opinion, public relations and human resources are big issues. The public is our greatest human resource. It's where we drive our power and authority. It is the reason for us to be. And so you could look at a myriad of communications, actions, methods, procedures, but it all comes from the citizen, period.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, John.
Yes, Gail?
This body has to adhere to open meeting laws. The committee you sit on currently is not. How do you reconcile these two?
Well, that's an opinion. Everybody has their opinion. I've checked the codes and statutes regarding that, that we have done. I've checked the codes and statutes again. Everyone has an opinion. I mean, we all think differently. This is our asset, not a disadvantage. I have encouraged you to talk with me and discuss these positions. And I am open, and I would do that at any time.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Zimmerman?
May I ask one more
Yes.
question?
Yes.
Talking about the constituents being the biggest part and having how they feel about things. If you have information on something you're possibly voting on that you're going to get into, and you know that it's right to possibly vote for it, but because of the people that you're talking to out in the public are against it, would you vote for what was actually right for the city, or vote for what the people are wanting, even if it could be wrong?
I would vote in the public's best interest, period.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Burke, you sure you don't want to ask some more of your questions?
I'm good.
Okay. So are there any other questions? Mr. Beebe, any other questions? Then
I would like to close.
Sure.
I have been active in the local government. You are all familiar with my character, and you're all familiar with my actions. And I have standing. I've been devoting and studying the government hundreds of hours in the last year that I've donated to studying the government, Title VII, Title II, operations, procedure. I have standing. I've been coming to these meetings for years and participating, I think, in a productive manner. And I will stand on my character and actions. And I would appreciate your vote in the positive. Thank you. And thank you to everyone that showed up and the support. And thank you to everyone. Appreciate it.
Thank you. If you would send the next person back, please. Back. Thank you.
Hello, Madam Mayor and Council. My name is Brooke Bolin at 1323 Cabinet Ave. I'm really excited to meet all you all and introduce myself again. I'm a previous federal government employee with the military. I've worked in the nonprofit realm and now work with the state. I'm passionate about service to our community and country. I'm a lifelong learner, currently working on my MBA and other projects, a community volunteer and advocate. I'm working on a community garden project, a food pantry project, the Libby Housing Committee, and then I previously served on the Kootenai Forest Stakeholders Collaborative Group. I was working on a lot of timber projects and getting them moved through for fire safety. I hope to bring my expertise and collaboration to the city and work with you all. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll start over here with Gail on the opposite side this time for any questions.
Hello, Brooke. What specific goals would you like to achieve, and how would you implement them?
I would love to start a little bit more community discussions on what the community needs and get them empowered to work together with us. I think it would be really great to start collaborative groups. I know we have some already, and just work together to improve both the city and small projects around town, so that we have some buy-in from the community as well. We have a lot of really great projects that we need more volunteers and people on, and I think it'd be awesome to motivate the community behind those. Thank you.
Hi. How will you balance your council duties with all your other commitments that you have?
I am ADHD, so I kind of thrive in that environment. I love to be busy, I love to be chaotic, but in like a controlled chaos type of manner. I really love to stay busy and be working on projects, so I don't see an issue with that.
Thank you.
Brooke, on the day-to-day operations, what do you think is one of the most important things that the city has to go through each day?
On the day-to-day operations, I think collaboration and communication is probably the most important part of, any team or group project. Just being able to communicate with all of the different agencies that we work with and, figuring out plans, goals together is the most important part.
Thank you.
Yes. What are some ways that you think this city can better partner with both county and state officials and government entities?
I'm unclear on how we're already working with them, but I think that we should create like pretty specific paths of communication. And again, kind of those collaborative groups where we're ensuring that we have, a group that's working on this project with representation from each of those organizations would be really great, that we're also keeping really good records of for, community education and knowledge. So making sure we're working together in both public forums, but also like well represented from each group would be really great.
Thank you.
Steve, if as a council member you receive first-hand information of misconduct regarding a person's power, and then we're told by administration that by talking to that person you have jeopardized your seat, would you remain silent or would you bring this forward?
I would bring it forward. I would follow the policy to ensure that I'm reporting it correctly, bring it forward. If I lose my seat, at least I did the right thing.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Any other questions? Do you have a closing statement you'd like to make?
I really appreciate your guys' time, and I know it's been super stressful with everything. We're like looking at the map, I'm like, my house is in the middle, like a lot of the people here. So I'm just really grateful for all of you and all of the emergency response crews and everyone else. And I appreciate all of the time. I know it's been a lot for everyone, so thank you guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Stand in a spot where he can, Melissa, do you want to, oh, there, okay. Hi.
Hi.
You can give an introduction of yourself. And
I'm Corky Babe, Howard Babe. I live at 821 Minnesota Avenue. I go by Corky is my nickname. I always have. Not sure where I got it, but it's always stuck. Worked for the city for approximately 26 years. Been gone about 3 years. Went to work for Thompson Contracting, and I move equipment for them. I do a primary mostly gold.
okay. All right. I'll step back there.
Ms. Craig, if as a council member you receive first-hand information on misconduct regarding a person of power, and then we're told by the administration that by talking to that person you have jeopardized your seat, would you remain silent or bring that forward?
I would remain silent.
Ms. Smith?
I don't have any questions. Thanks for applying.
Mr. Culp?
This job requires a lot of hours that are outside just the meetings and stuff we have, working with other agencies. Do you think you're able to balance your full-time work and the other obligations required of you?
Yes, I'm probably out of town, maybe on an average 4 nights out of a month. Other than that, I'm pretty much in our local area.
Thank you.
Okay. Brian?
Are you able to make like noontime meetings if they aren't able to be at night with your job or not?
If they were scheduled. Yeah,
if they were scheduled?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I could give advance.
Okay. Thank you.
How do you plan to involve the community in the decision-making process?
Just listening to folks. There's a lot of scuttlebutt that goes around in this town, people talking, and just listening to concerns. I'm one of the citizens too, I have concerns.
specific goals would you like to achieve, and how would you implement them?
I'd like to get back for us working for the people. It feels like it's turned, like we work against the citizens rather than working for the citizens, in my opinion, and that's just from what I've seen. Some of the different things that have happened. I think it needs to change.
Okay, any other questions from the council? Do you have any closing comments?
I do not.
Okay. If you want to sit down, I will open the floor for public comments. Are there public comments? You step to the podium, state your name, and you have 3 minutes to make a comment.
Good evening, Council and Mayor. I'm Vince Backman. I live at 427 Thomas Street. I'm on the Government Study Commission. I work with John Beebe for over a year now, and I can tell you that he thoroughly researches everything. He doesn't get swayed by my opinion or GC's opinion. He thoroughly investigates everything. He's diligent, he's honest, he's soft-spoken. I've never heard a bad word about John Beebe. I think he would make an excellent member of the council. He would enhance the council, and he wouldn't be partisan at all. I know this for a fact. Please consider John Beebe.
Okay. Other public comments regarding the nomination?
My name is Rocky Gifford. I live at 25 Pine Haven Trail Court. I've worked with Mr. Beebe and DC and Vincent. I'm on the TAC Commission, and I would highly suggest that John be on the council. He's honest, and he's open-minded, and he's a hard-working person. I highly support this man. Thank you.
Mike and Diana Texter, we're friends with John, going way back. I've come to know John over the years, and like the previous people have stated, he speaks on behalf of the people more so than Mr. Zimmerman's question to him regarding what's best for the city or what's best for the public. That's a pretty tough question. If you get the public involved and make them understand and can sway them in certain directions, you can go get what you want as well. The previous gentleman just stated John does his studies. He doesn't form an opinion until he knows the facts. I believe he's in the Government Study Council at this point in time, working underneath most of you people, because I can tell you what calls you by first name basis. And so he's pretty much put the work into it. It's been numerous times where I've asked him to go out and catch some lunch or something, and he says, no, I can't. I'm in the middle of this project that I got to finish up before the next council meeting, so that they have an answer that's representative of what they need to understand. He does put the time into it. He doesn't have any secondary agendas. He doesn't have another full-time job at this point in time. This is his life. And he is quite involved with the politics, and he has a complete understanding of what he says and what he does and what he's interested in.
He's also lived here his whole life, and he loves this place. You know, I think probably going back 25 or 30 years, you know, I can remember meeting him when my parents were coming to the Libby Dam RV Park. And I know sometimes he can be intense. I want to appreciate the fact that you equally ask every single candidate the same question. It was obvious by some of the questions that maybe there are some people that have an opinion. And I know sometimes John can be opinionated, but there's not too many people that have more integrity, and he will give you the shirt off his back. I don't care if it's 6:30 in the morning, you need a ride to the hospital, or something came up and you have to fly out of town because you have an emergency and you need somebody to take care of your dogs, or he's probably fished with half the people in this community. He knows everybody here. You know, you can't go anywhere with him that he doesn't get distracted where somebody grabs him. You know, his history is here. He's lived here his entire life, and that's what he wants. He wants to help it. He wants to help it be a better place. He has the time to do that. And I know he was a little nervous when he was speaking.
Okay, just 2 or 3 minutes.
All right.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Okay, any other public comments regarding the candidates?
My name is Tony Wickham, 3709 Kootenai River Road. Madam Mayor, Mr. Mayor-elect, City Council. I'd like to endorse John Beebe. I've known him for a number of years now, and there's a lot of great comments about him so far. He's lived here his whole life, and he loves Libby, and he's a great citizen, great neighbor, great friend, and he really cares about the direction that the city and the people in it are taken. And so what I know about John is that he understands Constitution, process, procedures, and he looks at those in terms of the boundaries by which he operates, and then he sees freedom within it. Freedom to act, to be creative, to engage people. He's very approachable. People come to him with issues, questions. He's more than forthright with his opinions. But the thing that I've known about John as well is that he will have an opinion that's very fact-based and based on factual evidence. If you present additional facts that maybe he's not aware, he does adjust and in some cases change his opinion. And I've had that direct experience with him. So he's one that enjoys debate. And it's healthy debate. So it's the kind of debate that engages and draws out additional opinions, facts that he can then help to formulate opinions. And usually, in leaving those conversations, sometimes they're debates, he ends up with not only a better opinion that he's driving from, but also the person that has had that debate with him has a different opinion and perspective as well. So very, very healthy, very constructive. I highly recommend John for this position. Thank you.
Any other public comments? Other public comments?
My name is Sandra Epps, and I'm here to endorse John Beebe also. John has been educator, has been a mentor, and as everyone has stated before me, all of his other attributes, he has so many of them. And but my main thing is that the consul is supposed to represent the people of Libby. And I believe that he could represent the people of Libby better than anyone that I know. Thank you.
Any other public comments? Any other public comments? Mr. Orr?
So, DCR 1117 Nevada Avenue. First thing I have to do, I am Mr. Procedure, and I have to object to the procedures that you guys have chosen here. Your attorney seemed to have a preference for waiting. A big part of that is the disrespect that you're showing for the newly elected members of this body that will have to work with the person you're picking tonight. The newly elected members are in attendance, and they will have to work with them, and you guys didn't even give them a chance to vote on them. Beyond that, neither retiring member really properly participated. Kristen refused to ask any question. Councilman Kristen Smith refused to ask any questions. She's very disinterested in the process. And I think you should leave it for the new members who are very interested in the process, because it'll be new to them. And Councilman Berger was openly hostile to John, and she lied about him in an effort to discredit him. Now that just disqualifies her from even having a vote. Lying and being openly hostile is not acceptable civil procedure. You guys should have called that to order when it happened, but you won't call anybody to order except DCO. So beyond all that, I've come to love John. He's a man after my own heart. He does his homework. We've gone toe to toe. We do have differing opinions on things, and that's a great thing. Debate comes to the middle. Debate isn't an issue of power, where someone says, you're going to do it my way. The study commission has had 7 legal filings against them by a member of this council, a member that is voting tonight that is openly hostile to John. I think you guys ought to reconsider voting tonight. Thank you.
Okay, any other public comments? Any other public comments?
May I be heard, Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry if I gave the impression that I was suggesting that the vote should not occur for another couple of weeks. I apologize. That was not my intent.
But it can
Okay.
wait.
And I will point out that the request to actually do this was from Mr. Taylor, who had made that request to me and the council. Okay? So I will go back to, are there any other public comments? Any other public comments? Any other public comments? Then I'll move the discussion back to the council table, where we will place names in nomination for the seat, and it will be selected by majority vote. I'll remind you, do not vote yes unless you're the candidate that you actually want approved. Okay? So first step is put names into nomination for the council seat.
I'll nominate Brooke Bowen.
Okay.
I'll
Any
nominate
other?
John Beebe.
Any other nominations?
I'll nominate Courtney Faith.
Okay. Since all 3 names are now in nomination, I will close the nominations, and we will move to voting. It would be decided by a majority vote. And as I said, do not vote yes unless that is actually the candidate that you wish to have win. Okay? In order of nomination, all in favor of Brooke Bowen?
Aye.
Okay, can I see a show of hands? Okay, 5 to 1. I would say opposed. Okay. That is the majority vote. And so that would mean that Ms. Boland would be elected the newest member of the City Council. Okay? So thank you very much for the process and for applying. We will move on to the next item, which is to approve business license applications received to date. American Legion, Cabinet Mountain Brewing. Are these actually business license, or are they? Did I get that wrong? All license. All.
It's very obvious that this council needs to care about
I got him out of place.
the
I'm
citizens'
sorry.
opinion.
I got them out of order. Approve all alcohol license applications received to date. American Legion, Cabinet Mountain Brewing, Cabinet View Country Club, Crosscut Casino, Gold Pan Kaiju, Libby Empire Foods, Maggie's, Casino 2, and Po Sam's, and Red, White, and Brews.
Make a motion, we approve all alcohol license applications received to date.
Second.
I'll abstain, Madam Mayor.
Okay. Are there any public comments on these alcohol licenses? Mr. Gifford? This needs to be on the alcohol licenses. Okay.
My name is Rocky Gifford. I live at 25 Pine Haven Road. I would really have you guys reconsider the American Legion alcohol. I was once a member there, and there's been a lot of over drinking. Drug and alcohol is a main factor in that club. I would really reconsider giving the American Legion a new license for alcohol. Thank you.
Any other public comments? Any other public comments? Then all in favor of approving of the alcohol license received to date?
Aye.
Opposed? A motion carries. Move on to coin-operated amusement license applications, which is the American Legion.
Approve all coin-operated amusement licenses applications received to date.
Second.
So, and are there any questions or comments from the council? Any public comments on this coin-operated amusement license? Any public comment? Public comment? All in favor of the motion to approve the coin-operated amusement license?
Aye.
Opposed? Move on to approve all the claims received to date. Did everyone get a chance to see the claims?
Approve all claims received to date.
Second.
Okay. Were there any questions on the claims? Were there any public comments on the claims? Any public comments? Public comments? Then all in favor of the all in favor of the motion to approve the claims? Sorry.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Those claims are approved. There's no unfinished business, which brings us to general comments from the council. Whoops,
Business license.
sorry.
Sorry,
That's
they
what
got
I get
stuck
for
on it
flipping
twice.
the page too soon. Approve all business license applications received to date. Great Day Improvements LLC, Lincoln County Tree Service, Paramedic Professional Incorporated, and Sassy Crafters.
Make a motion to approve all business license applications received to date.
I'll second.
Okay, are there any questions on those business licenses? Questions on the business license? Any public comments regarding these business licenses? Any public comments? Public comments? Then all in favor of the business license applications received to date?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Then that brings us to unfinished business, which we have none. And then general comments from the council. I did want to say that, the last meeting we did approve the city signing on the Mineral Avenue Improvement Project with the tourism grant from the application from the Chamber of Commerce. Sherry Turner was here from the museum. She is insisting on being on the agenda for January 5th regarding her museum grant. There is guidance from the state that the city needs to be on only one application, and we had already made that decision as far as Mineral Avenue, and so I'm going to, for those of you that will still be around, to proceed with caution regarding that, but I will go ahead since she had made that request to put it on the agenda. I also like to thank our outgoing council people, Melissa and Kristen. Very much appreciate the years that you've worked on the council and have been such an integral part of this decision making. And did you have?
I think a huge thanks to Mayor Peggy for her 20 years of service to the city of Libby, both as a council member and the mayor of the last 4 years.
Thank you.
She has modernized the city with more technology than it's ever had. She's improved staff morale and done a lot of house cleaning to make sure that our policies and procedures are aligned and modernized, so.
Thank you.
Very thankful.
I'd like to say thank you, Kristen and Melissa and Mayor Peggy. It's been great serving with you guys. Going to be missed.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. I've, since 2016, started serving on the council with Peggy, then Kristen, you came along. Of course, you on your last term, Melissa, so thank you all for everything, because I know people stepping up to be on here is not an easy task to find sometimes anymore. Thank God we had 3 applications tonight for people to step forward, which is great, so thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much. I've enjoyed all these years, and especially the last 4 years, and I very much appreciate the trust that was placed in me. So,
Can I say something?
yes, you may.
All right. Well, I just want to thank you very much. When I started, you were my training. I had my training wheels here with all of you guys, and it has been such an honor to work with you.
Thank you. I
And
appreciate that.
it just inspired me so much. And with the council members, you started when I did,
Yes.
and we were all new, deer in the headlight look, and it's been absolutely wonderful. And I just want to thank you very much,
Oh,
and
you're
thank
very
both
welcome.
of you. And if I can do this now.
Okay.
Let's see here. I have these all made up. This is one for you.
Well, thank you very much. I
It's
very
a
much appreciate
certificate of appreciation.
And Peggy, you know, I spent more time with you than I have with my wife in the last 4 years.
Thank you.
And just to let you know, you argue a lot better. The problem is we always argue for the same thing.
We do.
So that has
We
been
do.
very enjoyable, and I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. I very much appreciate.
And I did get cupcakes. They will be, I'll bring them out after, so we'll have a little cupcake party. Okay. Thank you
So,
very much.
Thank you very much, Leanne. Appreciate it. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you all very much.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Yes.